Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to today's live reading of Guarding the Crease by G.K. Brady, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Join me. Chapter 1. Jerks come in all shapes and sizes. Wyatt Tompkins sucked in the remnants of an ice cube from his empty bourbon rocks to keep himself from blurting out what he thought of the gas bag sitting at his table. Or rather, the gas bag whose table he sat at and whose cocktail he had just hammered down. Under different circumstances, he wouldn't be in the same room as his host, Travis Beard, much less sitting at the same table. Did that make him an ungrateful tool? Maybe, probably. But what choice did he have other than to suck up to the Colorado Blizzard's owner's son? Being labeled the disgrace of the NHL Blue for so many reasons, the fact that his favorite country club hadn't renewed his membership and only allowed him to golf here at the invitation of jerks like Travis Beards, the rare ones who still wanted to hang out with Wyatt, ranked in the top 10 reasons why being ousted from the Cool Kids Club sucked. And while he knew he should be appreciative after spending the last 4 hours with the entitled Travis, Wyatt's patience walked a tightrope on the thin blades of sharpened skates. Wyatt side-eyed his cousin Noah, who sprawled next to him. Elbow propped on the stuffed leather armchair, chin in his palm, Noah dished the identical sidelong glance in return. Yeah, Noah was on the same page. Travis was a total tweezball. A tweezball with money and connections Wyatt needed if he was going to smooth the surface that would bring him back into the Blizzard fold. He had tried every other maneuver he could think of, and cozying after Travis was his last hope and his last resort. If Travis couldn't convince his dad to give Wyatt another shot, he was done. Toast. Cooked. And at 27, he wasn't ready to hang up his goalie stick, not even close. Hence the reason he found himself nodding and smiling at a guy he couldn't stand. Travis the Troll, as Gage Nelson, Wyatt's ex-teammate, used to call him, stopped guffawing long enough at his own lame-ass joke to gawk at something or someone outside the bar. His mouth twisted in a lecherous grin. Holy mother, what's she doing here? He held up a finger and then looked down at his vibrating phone. Hang on, boys, I'm getting an important call. Gotta take this. Phone glued to his ear, he hoisted his whale body out of the armchair. Talk to me, he barked into the device as he headed away from the table. Noah's gaze followed him out of the room. What do you want to bet he's not talking to anyone nearly as important as he wants everyone to believe he is? Wyatt snorted. I know he's not, because the only important people in his life are Mumsy and Dadsy, and he's all no sirs and yes ma'ams when he's talking to either of them. Some might lump Wyatt into the same category as Travis, namely the douchebag deluxe category, but at least he supported his extravagant lifestyle with his own dough. Well, used to, back when he could afford it. Noah flicked a finger in Wyatt's direction. Is putting up with all his bullshit worth it? I'm not so sure. So get your damn job back already, will ya? Then we won't be at his mercy. His cousin was kidding, mostly, but it still rubbed Wyatt's tenderest spot in the wrong way. Not being able to join the country club was yet another reminder of what he'd lost, and he let his frustration show. Maybe you ought to pony up the 150 grand it takes to join instead of tagging along. Ha, I wish. I'm just a barkeep from the sticks, remember? And while I might have wound up with the lion's share of the good looks in the family, he winked at the waitress who'd been eyeing him the entire time they'd been in the bar, the jerk. They don't translate into paychecks the size of your talent does. Even if I do land back with the Blizzard, it's no guarantee I'll be invited to join the country club again. Wyatt huffed in irritation. It wasn't merely the country club membership. It was losing his former lifestyle and the perks it had afforded him. So he made a few stupid mistakes. Didn't everyone? He had paid his dues when they had shipped him down to the minors. The management didn't seem to agree for some reason that had escaped him. He let out a sigh, and that's talent did and does and not does. That defeatist attitude doesn't sound like you, cuz, and it's gonna get you exactly no place. Noah made the sign of a zero with his thumb and forefinger. Wyatt shot him a mirthless smile. Save your bartender psychology for someone who needs it, cuz there's nothing wrong with my attitude. Noah leaned forward and put his elbows on his knees. Then prove it. Tell me about your plan to make it back to the show. I'm still working out the details. Wyatt sucked in another ice cube and crunched it hard. That's what I thought. You got nothing going on. Noah swirled a skewered cherry in his mostly full Manhattan. And speaking of nothing going on, have you found a date for your bro cheese's wedding? Now Noah had just poked another sore spot, working out those details too. Which once again tells me you got nothing. Yeah, and what about you, Mr. Babe Magnet? I'm pretty sure I'm going to be sick that day, or that a herd of elk will have just flattened the bar. Either way, circumstances beyond my control will keep me from attending. Gee, and I was really looking forward to it too. Sarcasm dripped from Noah's tone. Wyatt scoffed. Nice try. Do you really want my mom to show up at your cabin and drag you all the way back to Denver by your balls? A grin slid over Noah's face. Helen would do that, wouldn't she? Bet on it. Just like she's going to find dates for both of us if we don't find our own. Don't even think it, or you'll conjure some really bad juju. Wyatt drummed his fingers on the chair's arm. Sometimes I think I was switched at birth, like I should have been your mom's kid. She treats me more like her son than my own mom does. Noah grunted and took a sip of his cocktail. Nor would your mom eat her young like mine, Wyatt added. A group began streaming toward the dining area, which had been roped off for some private event. A blonde wearing a short black leather skirt showing off legs that could wrap around Wyatt's waist and then some, pulled away from a couple and strode to the bar entrance. Her light eyes scanned the bar, skipping right over him. She began a fresh sweep of the room, jutting out a hip and perking a fist on it. Long fuchsia nails contrasted nicely with the shiny black leather, and he pictured them scraping down his bare back. His eyes strapped at her, landing on her 4-inch red stilettos. He tapped Noah's arm. You don't think I have anything going on? He set down his drink. I so have it going on. Watch this and learn from the master. Rising, he slowly hitched up his golf pants. The motion caught the woman's attention, and her red lips curled into a smile. Behind him, Noah made a sound like a hissing balloon. He could practically hear his cousin's eyes rolling around in their sockets. A few strides, he stood within arm's length of the woman. Lose someone? She surveyed him from head to toe. It's possible. Then again, I might just have found him. Tapping 2 fingers against his sternum, he didn't hide his surprise. Me? She darted her eyes to the ceiling. He darted his to the cleavage that was front and center, thanks to the leopard print top that showcased her assets. Whether those assets were as ample as they appeared, or if a push-up bra was doing the heavy lifting, mattered little. Tits were tits, and he availed himself of every shape and size imaginable. He liked them all. His gaze shot back up to meet her lowering one. Her smile transformed into a smirk. Yeah, she totally busted him. But why wear an attention-getting outfit if she didn't want attention? Laying a hand on his forearm, she purred. How would you like to be my date? One corner of his mouth hitched. When? Now. He must have looked all kind of confused because she ran on. My date was supposed to have met me here, so I didn't have to attend this fundraiser alone. He promised, but he stood me up. I knew he would. Bastard. She muttered the last word. Maybe he's running late? Not a chance. I'm the one who's late, and he hasn't answered any of my texts. So, how about it? She pouted. Don't let me be lonely tonight. He glanced down at himself. I'm not sure I'm dressed for the part. She flapped her hand. Oh, you're fine. She motioned toward the dining room where people milled about. Take a look. Some of the guys are dressed in jeans. Pushing up on the balls of his feet, he made a big show of checking out the crowd, though he didn't need to look. He already made up his mind. As he was about to look away, he caught sight of Travis, with his back to Wyatt, crowding someone. Someone ducked under Travis's arm, a woman with dark hair pulled into a severe bun at her nape, whose body language broadcast she wanted to put space between herself and the wide body. Though Wyatt couldn't hear him, he clearly read the jerk's lips. Oh, come on. Travis's expression shifted from pleading to annoyed and back again. The woman dodged Travis's reach as he lunged for her arm. She made for a cluster of men who parted to let her join them. When they closed around her like a protective shell, Wyatt muttered, Good. In the background, Travis threw up his hands in exasperation and stomped off, which pulled another good from Wyatt. The woman squeezed out of the circle, her eyes darting in the direction Travis had gone. Then she swiveled her head out and locked eyes with Wyatt. Her mouth fell open. Did he know her? Before he could take a close inventory of her features, she turned her back and scurried away. Huh. Well, the woman before him prompted. She shook off the strange scene. Consider me your knight in shining armor. I'm Wyatt, by the way. Tompkins. He held out his hand for a shake and waited for that flicker of recognition his name usually elicited. Ignoring his proffered hand, she looped an arm around his neck and whispered in his ear, I know who you are. Why do you think I asked you to be my date? I'm Nova. She pulled back and fluttered her eyelashes. And Wyatt, I'm a hugger, not a shaker. Hot damn. Nova, he repeated. Shit, he hoped Nova didn't mean no go, because he didn't want to be shut down before he got started. He needed this. It had been weeks and he had some steam that needed blowing off. Her body language and eyes were promising though. Yeah, there was a definite tell women had that he was well tuned into, and she was telling him, I want to take you for a ride, big boy, and it's going to be long, hot, and nasty. In order to accommodate her, though, he needed to figure out what to do with Noah. About my friend. Sorry, it's invitation only. She cocked an eyebrow. Maybe he can drive himself home. Yeah, but it's my car. Well, his leased Volvo XC60. How do I get home? Take the bait. I can drive you home. She wiggled her eyebrows. Score. He executed an inner fist pump. If he played his cards right, if he slathered on the right amount of charm, if he detoured them to her place first. He gave her a return eyebrow waggle of his own. I'm all yours. Let me give him my keys. Don't go away. I'll be waiting. He darted a quick look to where Travis had been messing with a woman, but the space was empty. Slowing an urge to trot, he had his keys out of his pocket by the time he reached Noah. His cousin looked up at him with a knowing half grin. How the hell do you do that? Like you said, talent. Hey, sorry, man, but she wants me to attend this shindig and it's invite only. He slapped the key fob on the table. Where'd Travis go? No idea, but don't worry about the tab. It'll get passed on to the parents like all of his other bills. You good with getting yourself home? Maybe you can talk that cute waitress into making sure you get there safely. Noah glanced up in the waitress's general direction, sliding the key across the table and into his pocket. Nah, I'm good. You're not still crushing on that hot little... No, and for the record, I'm not now, nor have I ever crushed on her, Noah growled. She's not even my type. Yeah, right. Like you even have a type. Well, besides blind and desperate, that is. Says the lifetime president of the Man Whores Are Us. Noah threw back his drink in one go and stood. Later, bro. I won't wait up. His eyes drifted back to the waitress, who was looking at him like he was a juicy steak, and she decided to give up being vegan. Wyatt pivoted, strode back to Nova, and held out his arm. Shall we? Cocktails in hand, they retreated to a quiet corner of the venue. Wyatt nodded along, his interest in her small talk waxing and waning. He did perk up when a drop of her cosmos slithered into her tight cleavage. Whoops, she breathed. He flashed a roguish smile, his gaze slowly dipping to her tits. I could look that up for you. A Cheshire cat smile appeared over her face. Here? He shrugged his shoulder. We could. Better yet, why don't we blow off this party and head back to your place? The dark-haired woman from earlier suddenly appeared in his line of sight. She planted her fist on her hips and frowned at him. Before he could fully process, she sprinted into the crowd, making him wonder if he'd seen her in the first place. Nova tugged at the collar of his polo. Why not yours? Remember the guy I was with earlier? He's staying with me, and he'll be sprawled out across the couch in his underwear, surrounded by beer bottles and bags of Cheetos, Wyatt said smoothly. Not a pretty sight. The excuse was one he used countless times to keep potential stalkers from knowing where he lived, but he wasn't lying this time. Well, not about the guest. The mess, though, was pure fiction. Wyatt knew few dudes tidier than Noah. The woman Wyatt was pinning his hopes of getting laid on, tapped a long, hot pink nail beside her curled lip. My place it is. The little man in his pants jumped for joy. Soon they were walking out the door, her in the lead as he took in the whole package. Unlike other guys, he wasn't a leg man or a boob man. He was an equal opportunity lover of all parts that set women apart from men. How was that for diversity? Wobbling in her heels on the icy sidewalk, she handed the valet a ticket. As the guy dashed away, Wyatt steadied her. He glanced down at her shoes. Not the most practical. But I like how my legs look in them. She batted clumpy black eyelashes back at him. I like how your legs look in them too, baby. I'll like them even more when they're digging into my ass. He waggled his eyebrows. She swatted his arm. Pretty sure of yourself, huh? Oh, yeah. Let's say I'm a betting man, and I'm betting you're going to rock my world in about... He tipped his wrist to read his fake Rolex. 20 minutes. That's a little quick. It's only the warm-up. She flashed him another smile that broadcast the dirty thoughts streaming through her mind. He palmed her ass, and she gave him an extra wiggle. Maybe he should ask this chick to his brother's wedding. Ha! Wouldn't Mom blow a gasket? Even more reason to do it. Frigid January air nipped at them, and she pressed herself close. He scanned the parking lot, looking for a valet-driven car. A bank of shadows wavered in the dark corner of the lot, catching his eyes. Where were the lights? Shouldn't a place that charged the price of a condo for an annual membership light up their entire lot? A muffled cry brought a halt to his thoughts. What was that? Nova swiveled her head from side to side. I didn't hear anything. He peered into the inky corner. Dark forms like wraiths seemed to rock back and forth. Smack. Next came a muffled scream followed by a woman's voice. Get off me! Another smack, louder this time, like a fist pounding flesh. Adrenaline flooded Wyatt's veins. Letting go of Nova, he raced toward the struggling shadows. The assailant cocked his fist back. Oh, hell no. Shoulder down, he ran at the guy, connected, rammed him. The impact shuddered down his arm, and the dude flew backward and hit the pavement with a thud and a string of guttural curses. The woman thumped to the ground too, letting out a little squeal, and didn't move. The guy lumbered to his feet and stalked toward the woman. What the hell was the matter with him? Dude was big, but Wyatt was quick. He jumped between the guy and the prone woman, who was moaning. At least she was alive. Get the hell away, the guy screamed. This is none of your fucking business. Wyatt threw a punch that landed on the guy's jaw. A popping noise, and the man collapsed, landing hard on the pavement again. Chest heaving, fist clenched, Wyatt stood over the guy. Want more of that? Wyatt growled. Bring it on, asshole. Asshole groaned but stayed put, so Wyatt turned his attention to the woman. He couldn't see her clearly. Her head was bent, her features hidden, but he heard her ragged pants and pathetic mews as he made his way toward her. The sound of a gunning engine came from behind him, and he wheeled as a blinding set of lights flashed, strafing him and the woman, who ducked her head behind her forearm. Motion caught the corner of his eye. The light swung. Headlights and damn bright ones revealed the thug springing to his feet and breaking into a sprint. The lights went one way, and the assailant veered the other, and then the light was gone, and so was the bad guy. He crouched beside the woman and reached out. Are you okay? She grasped her throat and wheezed. Can't breathe. Panic joined the adrenaline flooding his veins. Don't die on me.